Hey everybody, it's Robin from the Cotton Blossom, and I'm here to show you the Baby Lock Vesta. This is a super cool sewing and embroidery machine. So it's a combo machine, but it's very portable. So let me show you some great things about the Baby Lock Vesta. The Baby Lock Vesta comes with 300 sewing stitches, over 14 fonts for embroidery, and over 300 embroidery designs. So the Baby Lock Vesta is sewing and embroidery, right? Well, it's set up to sew right now. And when it's set up to sew, it's under 30 pounds, very portable. And so you can always get a trolley to tote it back and forth to class. Here at the Cotton Blossom, we have lots of classes. So this is a great sewing and embroidery machine to take to quilting classes, to our embroidery classes. It's a lot of fun. Right now it's set up to sew, and it's got an advanced needle threader. So everybody, when they're coming to shop for a new sewing machine, the two things they ask for are needle threader and the scissor feature. So let me show you those two things. So the Baby Lock Vesta is a great portable machine. It's a great main machine. It's sewing and embroidery. So if you have space constraints, it's a great machine for that. It's also a great machine to take to class. We have lots of classes here at the Cotton Blossom. We have sewing classes, we have quilting classes, we have embroidery classes. So this is a great machine to take to both of those things. And the number one thing that people ask for when they're looking for a new sewing machine is the scissor feature and, of course, a needle threader. So let me show you those two things. So the Vesta is very easy to thread, like all of our Baby Lock machines. You just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the needle threader. It's a lever action, and it gives you a perfect needle thread every time. Now I'm ready to sew. It's got over 300 built-in stitches, gorgeous built-in stitches, and this huge LCD color screen. It comes with, of course, a foot pedal to sew with, but I'm going to sew with the button since I'm set up here in our sewing studio. I'm going to drop the foot. There's 3 ways to raise and lower the foot. There's the button to raise and lower your foot, which is my favorite. You've, of course, got the manual in the back, and then there's also a spot for a knee lift. But let me tell you what, once you've got this button, you'll probably never use a knee lift unless you're used to using it, because it's very easy to raise and lower the foot with the button. Okay, I can sew with the button, the start-stop button, or I can sew with the foot pedal. I don't have the foot pedal hooked up, so I'm just going to sew a little bit. It's a very, very smooth stitch, and I can speed up and slow down my machine very easily with the speed regulator. A lot of our machines have this, and so I can slow down my machine to go very, very slow if I'm working on something very intricate, or I can speed it up and be a speed demon and go really fast. If I'm at the end of my seam, all I have to do is hit the scissor feature, and it cuts the thread and cuts the fabric, the thread clean for me. Let me show you some other features that I really like. I've got the automatic pivot feature turned on, and when I lower my foot, and I'm going to hit the start button, once again, you can certainly sew with a foot pedal, but I'm going to sew a little bit. When I get to the end of my seam, it leaves the needle down and the foot comes up halfway so that I can pivot and then continue sewing. Another feature that I really like in the Baby Lock Vesta is the automatic reinforcement stitch. Now, if you look really close, you can see how there's 2 lines at the beginning of that stitch. And so when I have the automatic reinforcement stitch turned on, it will automatically go forward and backwards for me at the beginning of my stitch, because I don't want my stitch to come unraveled. So watch this. It will sew forward, and then it will sew backwards for me, and then continue to sew. And when that fabulous automatic pivot feature is turned on, the needle holds my place. I have a chance to check my seam, make sure I'm sewing straight, and then I'm off to the races again. Another thing that I really like about that automatic pivot feature is when it's turned on and I hit cut, it cuts my thread, raises my needle, and raises my foot all in one pass. Because the Baby Lock Vesta is a full-featured sewing machine, it has some really cool features, including an automatic fabric sensor. So I can sew from cotton to chenille and then to organza, and it automatically adjusts the tension for me. I don't have to change anything, which is really nice. It also has something called directional sewing. So most machines are limited by the hole in the foot, but this machine and some of our other Baby Lock machines have directional sewing. So I can choose one of these really big stitches, and they don't look big on here. It's very easy to change. If I want to change my sewing stitch to, let's say I wanted to do number 72. So I choose menu number 6, and then I scroll. I love this big color LCD screen. Boy, does that make my life so much easier. So I'm going to find stitch number 72. There it is. It's this big wave stitch. So on the screen here, it tells me what foot to choose, and it shrunk I've got a preview of what it's going to look like. And it's such a big stitch that it's shrunk it down 25%. And so watch this. When I sew this stitch, it's going to sew not only forwards and backwards, but left and right, and give me a really big stitch. These large stitches are fantastic for sewing on the edge of a napkin, sewing through sashing. So you could run this stitch along the edge of your quilt, through the middle of your quilt, and very quickly complete your quilt with these giant stitches. There's a wave stitch, there's a scallop stitch, there's a meander stitch. But check out how huge this stitch is. The Baby Lock Vesta has lots of buttonholes that are really easy to use. There's a special buttonhole foot that makes life very easy. There's also alphabets that are built in, and so you can actually stitch on your sewing machine letters. But let me tell you what, if you really wanted to put letters on something, you would want to switch to embroidery, because the Baby Lock Vesta goes up to a 6x10 embroidery field. So let me switch over the machine and I'll show you some great things in embroidery. Okay, I've got the Baby Lock Vesta set up to embroider now, and it's got a very generous 6x10 embroidery field. It also comes with a 5x7 embroidery hoop. Very easy to take your hoops on and off of the Baby Lock Vesta. And very easy to build an embroidery design. What's really exciting about the Vesta as well is it's Wi-Fi capable, and Baby Lock has a free program called the Design Database Transfer System. On your computer, you can have this program. It's a free program to download. You can pull up any embroidery design and send it wirelessly to the machine. It's very cool. There's also lots of built-in fonts. There's 14 built-in fonts. So if I wanted to add Merry Christmas to this beautiful poinsettia, I could simply type out Merry. Okay, and then I've already embroidered the poinsettia, but I need to line this up. So I can very easily with this touch screen, and I love how the Baby Lock Vesta screen is a little bit larger than its precursor. I can very easily maneuver my embroidery design on the screen. I have lots of ability to edit on the screen as well. I can move, I can size, I can very easily adjust the size of my fonts from large, medium, or small. I can rotate my design. I can increase the density on the screen. Now that is a feature that you used to have computer with software, and a lot of our Baby Locks now have this wonderful button. I can increase the density of my embroidery with the touch of a button, so I can go up to 120% very quickly and very easily. It's very easy to change the color, and when I'm ready to stitch, it will walk me through step by step. So I've got a little preview in the upper right hand corner of exactly what I'm going to be stitching. It's a very easy machine to use, but very sophisticated, and so it's a great machine for just about everybody. The Vesta also has some very cool large fonts that are very pretty. I love this kind of storybook font, and it has beautiful flowers that are stitched on the inside, and all these things are built into the Baby Lock Vesta. We have the ability to color sort. So if on a single needle machine, when you've got multiple designs on your screen, if you want to save time, you want to do all the greens at one time and all the reds at one time and all the blues at one time, right? So now the Vesta has the ability to color sort. So when I hit this button here, what's nice about this machine now is that it will put the greens together. So I'm only changing my thread so many times. First, I'm going to stitch all the greens on these beautiful poinsettias, and then it'll stitch all the reds. So I'm only changing my thread 3 times for this particular design, which before I would have had to do it 6 times. So very nice feature. Now the Vesta is even less expensive. Baby Lock has allowed us to lower the price that we can advertise the Vesta at. So come see us at the Cotton Blossom and check out our website, cottonblossomfarm.com, because we can ship this Vesta to your doorstep. But we'd love to show it to you. Come see us at the Cotton Blossom.